Well, hello, class. What's up, you guys? Just getting some stuff ready. Today, we are going over ColorScope first drafts, first cuts. You guys have really, look, I'm downloading another one right now and about to drop it in. 15 total. I don't think any copies. Let me see. Juliana's came with some kind of, it looks like some kind of back end file. Not quite sure what this is. But technically then 14. 14. Way to go, you guys. I know this was a very fast turnaround time. I'm pretty sure it was Eric who told me when he submitted it that this was the most fun project that he's worked on so far. But yeah, you guys, let's check these out. See what they look like so I can continue to praise you. But we are in our second to last day of class, you guys. Are soon to be on summer break, unless you're taking summer classes. But, you know, nice little break from class isn't terrible unless you're pushing through, which some people do, and that's perfectly fine as well. But, yeah, congratulations, you guys, so far on this semester. So I'm going to go over these, and then I have one other ColorScope to, like the ColorScope debrief, I'm sorry, I don't know why I said debrief, but like a brief, the ColorScope brief document to go over as well. So we'll get to that after I go over all of these and just give you guys some pointers to strengthen the videos and these, implement these by Thursday's class. So hopefully you guys are all caught up by now. But yeah. Hey, Sarah in the chat. I know I just said hello to you on Slack as well. So I knew you were coming. I had a heads up. All right, let's go ahead and just kind of get into it. Right here, we'll start with Eric's.
What if I were to tell you that the color purple isn't real? That's right, things like grapes, eggplants, amethyst crystals, even your boomer dad's old Mercedes, all have a fake color that isn't on the visible spectrum, but is instead a mixture of two colors, blue and red, smashed into your eyeballs, and your brain then interprets as the color purple. It's kind of fitting then that the color that represents royalty, luxury, and privilege only exists within our own minds.
Impressive. That is awesome. Way to go, Eric. That looks great. Obviously, utilizing the, first of all, song choice, great, perfect. Really lends itself to the way you wrote your script, especially like that comedic tone that you have to it. I think that's amazing. I think that's great. I also really enjoyed the sound design that you put into it, like the sound effects and stuff, which obviously amplified it. The nice thing about it is that you balanced your audio really well, and I can definitely tell that. So, congratulations on this. Is really good. Just a couple, first of all, in the chat, Angelina's there. What's up, Angelina? And also Eric here to watch his feedback, which is perfect timing. Yeah, it was just overall very strong. Very strong. And I'm pretty sure you did multiple 3D scenes here. Obviously these are 3D. Obviously the car and the eggplant and the grapes are 3D. Let me see here. These objects here, which nice job like fading and scaling. I'm pretty sure that's what you did there. Let me see.
It's kind of fitting then that the color that represents royalty, luxury, and privilege only exists within our own mind.
Not a full morph, but that it was so smooth, the transition from one object to the other, that you didn't need it. You pulled it off. I thought that was awesome. The one thing I would say, right, is let's throw some, we want to keep it as monochromatic as possible. So maybe a different color, maybe start off white and then fill with purple. Or let me see how this kind of goes, right? Like start off white and the white, like the white layer falls down and reveals the purple color. I think that would be stronger here because then you're revealing the color purple, and then have a different, like one of the color swatches that you have in your color profile or whatever, use one of those to put behind this, because you could use a lighter, like a lighter purple background in here would be fine. Even this color purple, if the white just came down to kind of reveal this color purple, that would be fine too in the background here. And then the only other thing I would suggest to do, maybe, do you have a light angled in the front of the scene here somewhere, or are they pretty much at the top? I feel like there's no light hitting the objects here in the front, especially on this eggplant. It looks very black. And so I would maybe just throw in another light on the scene in the front so it gets some of that. And then the shadows, throw some shadows on your lights as well. Then the background, obviously, like put a purple background in there. Same here. Purple background would be nice, and then
Amethyst crystals, even your boomer
let me
dad's
listen
old
to it.
Mercedes, all have a fake color that isn't on the visible spectrum, but is instead a mixture of two colors, blue.
Oh, this one's tough because you're talking about how it's not, there are 4 lights or so in the scene. Okay, so just maybe move the lights around a little bit to get more of that, like a brighter light in the front. So you're not, because right now I see more highlighting of the objects. Let's bring that car in. Let's see what the car, because the car's big. Okay, so there's one there. I would maybe bring it down in the front a little bit more. I just really want to, turn your interactive render region on when you're looking through it. And that way you can see to fill, if it's going to fill these shadows in. Because we need to add a fill light to get some of these, like, pitch black or kind of black. Is there... No, I just think that's my eyes. I have to look. Remember, I have to look at both screens. But, yeah, just mess around with the lighting a little bit to see if we can get, like, a better, brighter shots right there. And then, or what you can do is you could brighten up the material a little bit or make it a little more metallic looking, Here, what I would do is maybe have a purple background again, not black.
That isn't on the visible spectrum.
And maybe what you could do is throw an overlay on here so it's like different shades of violet. What do I mean by that? Let me see. Like if I had some, let me open After Effects here. Oh, perfect. Purple. Let's say I have an object. Take this stroke off. We'll fill it with that color. Let me add a repeater on. Kind of move this over. Offset it. Whoa, they are going crazy. Okay, that works. Whatever. That was crazy. I'm going to add just Colorama to kind of give the same rainbow effect that you had going on with this. Let's see if it works. Maybe not. That one won't work to make it kind of rainbow. I'm just gonna in case that won't work. No. So I'm just gonna take the repeater off and just make. Okay. I'll just duplicate that a couple times, move it over, move this one over. We'll change this one to blue. Change this one to, I don't know, yellow. This one to green. Be aware if you do this, it will make some muddy colors inherently by adding, you could add a new solid, which is, we'll just do this purple. Okay. And then change the blend mode to, I think it would be screen, which will lighten them up kind of, or you can just play around with these. Multiply, nope, doesn't work. Overlay will probably kind of look different. I wish there was a way to actually animate the, it'd be interesting if they made a way to animate the blend modes, which you could probably do if you had, let's try this. I've never tried it. Create an adjustment layer, and then on that adjustment layer, put in a fill effect. Let's see if the fill has an option to do that. Mask, opacity, invert. No, but you could animate the color change. So I don't know, maybe figure something out a little bit like that. I would be okay if you make it just have a purple background. Bare minimum would be to do that. But if I were you, I know the voiceover is saying something else. It's saying like it's not visible. So maybe rethinking.
Visible spectrum, but is instead a mixture of two colors.
I don't know. Yeah. Another purple background. I see it's purple. And when I'm looking here, it's like purple. It's just very dark purple. So I'm okay with that. And then
and red.
The only thing is that these look obviously more of a tone of purple already. And what I would maybe do is, because you're saying specific colors, like this one's green, this one's blue, this one's red, I would make sure that these are those colors. Are they actually blue and red, but because of the glowing that's happening with the object, it's looking like this? Is that what's happening? Or are they different shades and tints of purple? Let me know about that one. And then I see this background is violet. This is really cool though.
Brain then interprets as the color purple. It's kind of fitting.
That was great. I love the blaster sound effects in there. This is great. Love it. Don't change it. Looks awesome.
Royalty, luxury, and privilege only exist within our own minds.
Awesome. The ending is great. The ending is perfect. I wouldn't change anything about that. Way to go. Way to go, Eric. You should be proud of yourself. Pat yourself on the back for that one. That was awesome. All right. Let's go to bears. I wanted to shift them more towards purple. So yeah, just a red or purple and a blue purple. Okay, I see what you're saying. I would make them, what I would do is make them blue and red, and when they get ready to shoot towards the eye is when I would animate the color to the purples that you want it to be. And that should only take a couple keyframes. It shouldn't be a long one to do. But you really don't have a lot of work to change, really just the backgrounds and stuff. So, good job. Bear's in the chat. Perfect timing, Bear, just to go over yours. We're about to watch your ColorScope. All right.
Green. It symbolizes life. nature, and health. The color represents fertility
Nice. Good
and
job on the
hope.
growing of the plants.
The safe, refreshing color can also be dreary. Strong and deceivable, the color can be sickly. For green is also the color of envy and the color for greed. Yet, the color green is still invigorating.
You know, Bear, for a small, like for a slower song, your voiceover matched it really well. So good job on that. Great job on this. You guys are, trying new things, and that's the point of this, right? Is to start thinking critically and applying the knowledge that you have to create things on your own. And I know you mentioned that this was a problem. It is probably because what I would do is I would check under your render settings here, because you're probably in your viewport renderer. And if you can render, if you have time, render in the standard one. But most likely under your, where is it at? I think it's not under save, it's under, well, let me move to the renderer that you would be in. I realized I forgot the sound effects, and there were parts that I didn't show for some that didn't show. Oh no, what didn't show? Tell me what didn't show. And the sound effects, add them in if needed. Like I said, it enhances it. If you saw Eric's before, he added his in very wisely, and then didn't didn't let them overpower the voiceover or the music. So just watch the first part of class there, and you'll see what I mean. If the sound effects aren't there, you guys, I'm not going to be super mad about that. I know that's kind of like a final touch thing, right? It's nice to have the sound effects in there. And I know it was a requirement of the project, but I would, overall, like the music, if you have the music, the voiceover, and the visuals with it, the sound effects come pretty much last. I mean, that's kind of how it is everywhere else. So, and then when you're in this viewport renderer, you just go under filter and geometry only. So make sure that you're, let me turn on my one thing here. Make sure that you go here, click this one, and then to this one right there. The monster's mouth, he had lips and a background, and there was a background for the growing plant. Okay, let me actually, what I was going to say about the backgrounds in 3D. I wouldn't do the background in 3D. What I would do is I would render this without a background. You could have the lights in it. And then he is cute, but I could see where you're saying he would have a mouth. So maybe you possibly could have turned off the, if you were trying to do, if you have an object right here, let me kind of zoom in here, and you click this so it's an X, right? Turns into an X when you click it. It's going to hide it, but it doesn't hide it from the render. So let me show you guys what I mean. Let me open the interactive render agent real quick. So we have the box. I'm going to hide it from here, and it hides the entire object. If I double click on this, it will hide the object from your, it hides the object from your viewport view, but it doesn't actually hide it from the render. So it'll still show up in the render if you click this. If you click this one right here, it will hide it in both the render and in the viewport. So just if you guys were wondering what these ones do differently, that is what they do. And so I would check that on your mouth layer to see if that could be an issue that was on there. And then what I would, like I said, what I would do is just forget about like backdrops and stuff inside of Cinema 4D. It'll tie it into your video better if you bring it into After Effects and put like a flat background on it. And for some reason, it just ties it in a little bit stronger to the video, unless you can like really do your materials well and match a background to the rest of your background of your video. So that's kind of just what I recommend for the 3D stuff. But if you do want to, if you really want to have a backdrop in there, that's fine. I would just maybe shut off reflections on it. Because right now it looks like there's a reflection happening down here. I'm not quite sure. Is that what that is? But then if you shut off if you take that all out, it'll most likely render a lot quicker as well. So you could probably render it in the physical or standard renderer. By the way, great job on your the raindrop ones. Those are cute. The see, dropping down. Is this where I would maybe have, what you could do is, if you take the background out, you can set all of this up in one scene. So you could almost have it like, so it's one continuous kind of shot. So you'd have your little monster guy. Here, let me do this real quick. So this is your platform, your base at the very bottom there. And then that has like your, we'll say that has the plant, the pot with like the flowers on it, right? And then you have your, I don't know, your raindrops right here. We'll just say this is a raindrop. We'll just make it real small. Hold on. Let's make it tiny, tiny, tiny raindrops. And is this the one you were talking about having the issue with the emitter, or was it the money? Oh, that's the water reflection. Yeah, I wouldn't even worry about that. So let's say you had the emitter up here dropping the raindrops. That's a raindrop. And then you have the monster guy. I know there's a capsule shape. Perfect. Okay, so you have him way up here. Sorry guys, I gotta move my mic out of the way of my thing. And then you could frame your camera and just animate your camera so that it is zoomed in here. Let me see. Click off the camera. That you're zoomed in on this. Let's not do that. You've got this going, and then you would go in and animate that, and then you would animate it going, woo, let's not. Here, we'll do this, like animate it moving down to see the water, and then you would just want to make sure like it's not, you don't have this in the view, and then you could continue to pan the camera when you're ready down to show it dropping into the essentially your planter box, right? And then watching those grow. But the growing of the, way to go on that, on the, you must have watched some tutorials and did a good job with that, because that is pretty cool. I was like, oh wow, look at them, like grow into it. Looks really nice. Because that is definitely 3D. And then you can still have this down here if you want. I don't mind that. It looks like you did a lot of work. It's really cool. You've got the 4-leaf clovers on there. Clever. And then just a regular background or something there. You can use HDRI for the lighting. Yeah, you can. And then set the sky so that it's invisible to the camera and the render. That way you can have the lighting and the transparency for After Effects. Exactly. Eric is so right. So, what does that mean? Add a world object. Let's go. Or the sky object, sorry. And then you can just search for, in your asset browser, HDRI. And then you can throw any one of these on there that looks good. This one's actually green. Let's see what this one looks like. Yeah, that's a great way to do the lighting and the. I'm still looking. Let's see what it. Camera. There we go. Let's drop that in the background. Make it invisible. Oh gosh, which one was it? I think it's the bottom one. HDR for the lighting, then set the sky to. Oh wow, this is like a full-on floor and stuff. I think you do it in the camera. Let me throw on, it has to have a material first. Let's see. Wrong. Right. Let's pick up, like, I don't know. Silver. Perfect. We will know if it works with this. Oh, that's an ornament. Wrong. This one. Eric, how did you set the invisible sky for the camera? Is it under camera settings that you did that? Let me see here. It's probably in the material tag. Oh, it's an effector. Okay. Yeah, let me know in there. And then but yeah, then you could do this as well to give it like a different to give the lighting easier. You could use a studio lighting, which will add those highlights and stuff in there as well. When Eric gets that, we'll go over that, but let me go finish going over this one for you. Really neat.
The safe, refreshing color can also be dreary.
I think what you should do here is you can just keep the single, this one on screen, right, where it's growing in there, and then just alter the colors. You could add the, that is something that you can do, that overlay effect I was telling you with, especially with Eric's, is where you would have your object here. Let's make it, because yours was like green, right? We'll just do, we'll say that it was like this kind of green. Here's your object here. And then you want to make it look dreary. You could add a new solid. Change it to the color green that you would want it to be. Just like a darker green. Okay, okay. And then you could just multiply darkens it. Darken, let's see, nope. Play around with your color modes again. And then you'd animate the opacity, right? So obviously this is gonna, let me take that off. right? So you could animate that opacity change there, and it'll change the way that looks. You created dead versions of the plant. Are they're withered? They look similar to me. I do see, I mean, like, obviously they're falling off. Yeah. You could still do that with this one, with that, what I was telling you. Or what I would do is you could just slide this fully off screen. So we're just paying attention to this one. Because what happens here is it goes pop and it just disappears from it, right? And then it looks like Eric posted in Slack what you would need to do for... Cool. Change off scene by camera. I'm not sure what effector that one is. Let me see here. Was it post effects? And you added it on the sky object. It's two different, but they're the same. I would do that. I would just do, you could do either one, Bear, that you would want. Like you could, the easiest method would be to slide this one off screen and at the same time slide this one from the other side, right? So essentially doing what you're doing there, but just make sure this is full screen the entire time. So we can just watch that falling down. The other thing I would do here, this is cool.
The color green is still invigorating.
This is the one I think you were talking about with the emitter. Correct. I don't know if you said that earlier. This one I would just remove all the dollar bills in the background and have a blank thing, and then just add a bunch more money. Make it rain money. Like, I want to see tons of the Benjamins flying down there. I want to feel like I hit the lottery and it's just like gonna suffocate me. Right? You could have a big pot of money underneath too. You could have like them falling into a pot of money.
Is still invigorating.
Cool though. Good ideas. Cool ideas there. Awesome. Sweet. Way to go, Bear. Let's do, all right. Asia.
Lavender is the color of peace. It brings people to a sense of grace, relaxation, and harmony. The color was valued by ancient Romans, so it became known as a color of royalty. The scent of lavender flowers often soothes people's minds and bodies, and is used for stressful situations. Its hue is a gift of spiritual healing to people all around the world.
I'm impressed you guys are doing good. I'm so happy with the stuff that you guys are producing. Really nice, Asia. First of all, you guys are like picking really good music. I don't know why I wasn't expecting that, but you guys have all so far, I've seen like great music choices for these videos. And then this is really neat.
Of peace.
The wing flap is cool here.
It brings people.
That was a really nice pause that you actually left there. You left us a second there to listen to the bird here. I would maybe see if you could make these bend a little bit and just maybe sway back and forth slightly. Not that big of a deal if they don't, but I think that would benefit to it.
It brings people to a sense of grace,
This is neat.
relaxation, and harmony.
gives you a chance to...
The color was valued by ancient Romans,
I like this.
so it became known as a color of royalty.
I love your little people here. So what I would do is separate these out into 2 separate layers, the dark, like the background of a lot of them, and then the foreground one, separate them out and then bring them in, just like delay it, like offset the layers. I think that would be cool. And then maybe even you could add another layer of people in there, because that would be awesome. The
as a
crown
color of royalty.
Keep the crown purple. Do like another tone of purple, because I think that would be cool. I think that people would understand that it's still a crown and royalty there. This one
Often soothes people's minds.
I would maybe take, if you have Procreate, this would be a good one to do too, is to bring this into another app and put a lot of little dots all over these, or like a texture brush and run it there, like along the lavender, so that it looks like a bunch of little lavender flowers on it, because I know that lavender, you know, it's bushing, like a bushing type of plant, and it's a lot of little flowers on there, right? So I would just do that, and it would kind of give the idea of the many, many, many little flowers amongst the rows and columns.
Its hue is a gift of spiritual healing to people all around.
And then this, I would just rotate the piece mark. And then maybe add, I don't know if you have material onto here, but maybe throw on more of a violet colored material and rotate it. But very good job. Really good job there. Yeah, cool. I really like it. I just want to point out like the timing that you gave your voiceover with the separation between each sentence, especially considering the fact that you're discussing how relaxing and calming that the color lavender is. It was very appropriate for the video, and I mean, obviously combined with your voice is very comforting and smooth, and you did a really good job on that part as well. So I'm proud of you guys. Eric said, that was amazing. You really captured your design brief. I would agree. I very much agree. Good job. All right, Brian. The sensitive material. Thank you for that.
Green is the color of harmony. Green is associated with nature, life, health, hope, wealth, and luck. Suicide attempts off of the London Blackfriars Bridge dropped 34% when the bridge was repainted green. This is because green can help reduce stress and anxiety. But too much green can lead people to become lazy and lethargic.
Good job. Really good job. First pass on that, Brian. First of all, I'm into the music. Again, you guys are doing a really good job with this. This first scene, everything was very smooth, by the way. The motion was really smooth. I know this one's hard here. That looks like
green is the color
3D grass.
Harmony.
I would stop this from moving down. Right now it's drifting. It's like continuing to drift down. I would bring this section here. Let me draw it for you. All of this with the grass, right? All of this section plus this your foreground layer. I would bring it up slightly. Let me do this. I'd bring it up a little bit so it's like kind of resting here. It's okay if it overlaps the word green. That's not a problem. In fact, that adds a little more interest to it. And then maybe some slow movement of the clouds kind of moving in, I think would be beneficial to the scene. And then here, like let it pause for a second. So green. It would settle down here. You would say your first line.
Green is the color of harmony.
Green is the color of harmony. Give it a second, and then drop this down to reveal.
Green is associated with nature.
This guy. So just make sure that that layer, those 2 layers don't continue to drip.
Health, hope, wealth, and luck. Suicide attempts off of London Blackfriar Bridge dropped.
That was neat. I like that. It was understanding that you're like cutting it, you're like dollying in, right, on the shot or zooming, and then you're here to see the bridge. I would do
Luck.
Let me see here.
Like health, hope, wealth, and luck.
Let me check here. Yeah. It looks like a blur actually that you added on that, which I'm okay with.
Suicide attempts
Maybe
off of
just
London
not as strong. Maybe just dial the blur back down a
Blackfriar
little.
Bridge dropped 34% when the bridge was repainted green.
I like this. There are sounds of water happening. So I think it would be neat if you just, even green, right? You could just draw green wakes using that line technique that we did in class last week on Thursday. I think that would be neat and lend itself to your, let me see, this was not the right one, not that one, or that one. It was the lines. Essentially you could do it, I would do it with the, obviously the wave warp, and you could do lines that go in there, so you could have short little lines like this. Draw that, and then make it, oh, cancel that, take the fill off, let's make it green. Okay, let's do it this way. I think you will add the wiggle path and let us smooth it out. The detail. Actually, no, let's not do the wiggle path. Let's just, yeah, I think you could do zigzag. This one would work. Smooth it out, right? And you can do kind of like a stylized wave here. And you can go into here, and under your stroke, you make it a round cap. I'll cap those off. And then what you can do is animate the maybe offset paths. Let's see this. That's not the right one. I don't think this is the one I wanted to be. No. Trim paths you would have to add to that. Add trim path. And then you would obviously trim it down. And then you could animate the offset there. Kind of like it's coming in. You could do that. Might be an idea of how to add some animation to that scene instead of just like a standing scene there. Let's see. Yeah, so in the chat, we have some recommendations that Eric says it might be more complicated, but I think keyframing the body so it ends from the yoga pose from lying down would be like a choice to do. So let's get to that section here. I think that
and anxiety. But
I think you should keep it the same green that this is, and this should be the section that you use that essentially is just um, the layer. And then I would maybe just stick the person behind here. And
People
let's
to
see
become
here.
lazy and lethargic.
I don't know if there's a little bit of, you can even have this,
People to become lazy and lethargic.
let me see. Yeah, even by using the puppet pin tool, if you pin this down, you can kind of move the hands in and out like this, like the arms in and out a little bit. I would also, when this spins, right? This and this have to be the exact same position. They have to fully match up. In fact, I wouldn't even cut it. It looks like what happens is it, oh no, that is that. It looks like the spin is,
Can lead people to become lazy and lethargic.
that is what happens. You just do like a quick cut of that. What I would do is I would spin it a couple of times really fast with a blur on it. And during that moment is when you'll do the switcheroo, right? You'll switch from the person doing the yoga to the couch, and it'll hide that switch that we see there. And then I would agree, maybe even like instead of separating out you could separate out this arm. This one would be fine. The leg, you can even have just kind of drifting like it's going to fall off the couch. Like they're passed out, like they're really lazy. They're falling asleep hard on the couch. And I think that would be cool. I would agree with Baron and Eric on that. And like I said, you could just use the puppet pin tool as well if that works out for you. But good start on this. Good start. And then credits, obviously credits. All right, let's see here. Zoe's. Cool.
Blue has been an important color throughout history. The ancient Egyptians were among the first
Let me shut off my thing. Hold on. I'm sorry, you guys.
to use blue pigment made from lapis lazuli stones. Blue has played a significant role in many religions and mythology, representing divinity, protection, and above all, holiness. Scientists have used blue light in medicine for treating wounds and skin conditions, and blue continues to be a popular color in modern cultures. From ancient Egypt to the elegant blue gowns of Marie Antoinette to the blue jeans of the old American West, the color blue has been a fashion staple for centuries and will continue to create endless possibilities.
Really cool, Zoe. I'm into it. I really like the I really like it. I'm into it a lot. Really good job on keeping this a majority monochromatic. Great illustrations that are here inside of these. Really cool subtle background music that is very like new age sounding, and it fits really well with your ColorScope project. I would make this text I would definitely make this text blue. And let me see. Add another blue around here. You could still have the circle around it, but I would just add another blue there to fill that in, because you want your eye to be drawn to the one thing, right? So like having the white around the outside draws your eyes out away from your animation. And we don't want that to happen. So we want to see everything.
It's been an important color throughout history.
I would continue the ticking motion to happen even before or even after like it's gone. Like make sure that ticking motion is just continuing. So we in our minds have we're drawing to conclusion that time is continuing on past what we're saying it doing, that the clock doesn't just stop, that it continues to go. So just all you have to do is that continue that animation and or extend it to when you have this scene doing this. And I see what you're doing there, right? I can now see that it's the eye, the circle part of the Eye of Osiris. I think that's what it is. I would just make this a different blue then, so that it's the same, whatever blue you put here, make it this is the same blue. Obviously it's the same object, so that's what I would do. And then you could even, if you wanted to animate the fill color of it or the stroke color, the fill and the stroke can be animated. So if you do want it to go to white, you can animate it. The color change happening when it's like, when it's scaling down to fit into to the scene. Really cool though. I like the
Egyptians were
background that
among
you
the
added on
first
here.
to use blue pigment made from lapis lazuli stones.
Awesome. That's really cool. I like the little shimmer sound that I'm hearing.
Blue has played a significant role in many religions and mythology, representing divinity, protection, and above all, holiness.
Like it. That's awesome. Perfect. It goes black here. So I think because you want it to be in a dark room, but we don't want it all the way black. So
Scientists have used blue light.
I would possibly, you know, I would just adjust that so it's not so dark right away. And maybe the light is just slightly on, right?
Scientists have used blue light in medicine for treating wounds and skin conditions.
There's this here is on screen for a long time, though, just the white, right? And so we need to change that so that this is not, it's very fast that it happens, right? It's going to grow. When it feels white is when you need to bring those icons on screen. And that way your timing will flow a lot better and you don't have just a spot where
Blue
it's like
light in medicine for treating
hanging. So I would start your voiceover right here, right when this starts to expand and the light is growing is when
Scientists have used blue light in medicine for
and have these already started
treating
animating
wounds and skin conditions, and blue continues to be a popular color in modern culture.
That was really cool. The water, like, or like kind of slime transition shape. I like it. Very neat.
Cultures.
Here, this one works for me. I would like to see, obviously more contrast in here. So what I would do on this scene is I would make this blue of the background like very light blue. Almost like, let's just go to here. I would probably do, great. It's, of course, a stroke, not a fill. And I would do like a color blue that's not going to show up in any of those, any of these logos. And I think blue shows up in more logos than just that, right? At least have 3 on screen. So, because like, remember, when we talk about design, groups of 3 are easier on the eye to look at than even numbers. So when you have odd number of things on the screen, which I mean kind of goes against what your brain thinks, but like your brain tends to like more things in groups of like odd numbers.
To be a popular color in modern cultures.
And it's probably because the way that it lays out. So let's look real quick. Blue logos. Oh yeah, tons of logos that are blue. In popular modern culture, we have Skype, Samsung, AT&T, American Express. Perfect. So you can grab a bunch of these ones and just have at least 3 to 5 on screen, right? And you can animate them. I would suggest not just going from this to fading. I would scale them in sequence of scaling. And I think that would be cool.
In modern cultures.
This scene in
From
particular
ancient
is really
Egypt
nice.
to the elegant blue gowns of Marie Antoinette to the blue jeans of the old American West, the color blue has been a fashion staple for centuries and will continue to create endless possibilities.
So here, this is awesome. I necessarily wouldn't have this one on screen just quite yet. I would center these. So like move this one obviously over here. And then everything's like evenly spaced, but I would shift everything over here so that this one's in the center. And so you can start, again, you can start the, how you kind of go from here. Make sure that each time you're talking about them, it's okay if it cuts off the other one. So center each one that you're talking about. So this should be shifted over to be in the center. And if this isn't issue inside of Cinema 4D, right? If you're having trouble with the camera that way, you can get a wide shot, like a very high resolution wide one. Let me see here. Let me scale this down. Let me actually delete this, and we're going to make a rectangle. I'm going to make 3 of them. 1, duplicate, duplicate. Because I believe that was in Cinema 4D, which you could, but the illustrations looked like they were done in, inside of Illustrator, and that you actually have 4. So, what I would do is I would space them so this one could be off camera. So maybe like this and like this, right? You give a little bit of space to everything. In fact, I would pre-compose these. I'll just not naming it for right now, but, and that way you could, before we pre-compose them, anything that's off screen we need on screen. So let me scale everything a little bit and move them all so that they're, on screen evenly. There's an easy way to do this. Select them all, go to align up here, distribute layers vertically and then horizontally. And then, right after you find out, okay, they're evenly distributed on here, right, and almost center, we would say center them with this line, with your horizontal line. And then here what you would do is you would scale up this pre-comp so that you only see 3 of them in. Scale this down a little bit. And then you can just go into the pre-comp if you want to and adjust the sizing or spacing, whatever you need to do. I would put my title action safe in here so that you're visually just trying to line up that. And then what I would do is you can animate the scaling, essentially the push-in of this pre-comp, right? So this is where we want it to kind of end up for a minute. Let me shut off everything else. So I would end up there. And actually, let's move this over here to 2 seconds. And you kind of wanted to start punched into the 1. So I would scale this up, probably about there. And I would center this one, right? Talk about that one for a few seconds. We will copy paste. And then you're going to move forward here. So the scale on this is actually going to stay like this for a while. And then you're just going to animate the position along with it. So start the position here. That's fine. It's going to be on screen for a few frames. So let's see. Okay, cool. Say something about it. It's on there for that long. Then we're going to move to this one. Center that one. Talk about that one for a second. So copy and paste the keyframes. And then we're going to move on to, in fact, let me do this. And let's kind of get this more even. Right there. Hold it for maybe right here. Talk about it there. Okay, so moves, stops, watch it, moves. Come on. And that way we see kind of part of this one, but not all of it yet. So you're talking about this one. It shuffles over. You're talking about this one. It's going to shuffle over. You're going to talk about this one. And then you want it to move, at this point, you want it to move back here to the area where it is centered. Let's see here. Right about here. Let me delete this one real quick and move this over so that it centers these. Or like that. So we're shuffles. Whoop. We need this one over for a little while. We want this to stay like this. So copy, paste. Shuffle stays like that. You talk about it. When it's zooming out, it's going to keep the position right there, right? And so then you could talk about all of them together. And then when you're ready to go into your credits is when you'll keyframe this position again, move forward, and then you can move this over. And also I would copy the scale, paste that there, and then at the same time that it's moving, scale into it, right? So that you're, I don't know, like right there and right there. Obviously you would want it centered. This is not centered. It is being cut off at the top. You don't want that. So, I mean, obviously I would fix that with dropping the scale a little bit more and just moving that over. All right, so look at it, shuffle, look at it, talk about it, goes there, and then you can do like a really nice tight zoom in to see all of your stuff, and then move the position again, and obviously just like moving it along the line. And that might be a little bit easier for you to do than animating the camera inside of Cinema 4D, which is what it appears to be doing. Because these are really cool, and I think that they deserve a second on screen for us to look at each one, because I keep wanting to look at this one because there's a really heavy blue in this portrait right there. So I want to give this one a little bit of time because these are great illustrations, and I think they should be on screen and be that, like, this one's perfect. How you line this one up, perfect. And then we can go to this one. Or even just fade out but I like this. I think that's a creative idea. So that would be all I would do. Good job on that, Zoe. All right, next one. Sorry guys, I gotta kind of fly through them. Kaylee.
Purple is the color of royalty. Due to the complexity of creating the color, purple is very expensive and only worn by ancient monarchies and the upper class during the 1850s. Purple symbolizes wisdom, power, spirituality, wealth, and nobility. It is known as a cross between red and blue, combining red's power and blue's stability.
Good job on that, Kaylee. I really like the where is it? I think this is cool. I think it has potential. What I would do here is you have the line going in the trim paths to,
due to the complexity of creating the
fill it up. I would have a trim path matching the shape here of your outline square, right? To follow along and fill it up that way. So then it's not, let me show you what I mean quickly here. Let me do this. I'll do another one here. Let's center this kind of as much as we can right now. And then I will shut off the fill and increase the size of this. If this is how you did it, I would suggest rounding the corners. Because any kind of tubes and piping like that generally do not have 90-degree angles. I would do that and then a round join right there, and then I'll round that off. You can also go into the rectangle path and you can increase the roundness right there, and that'll round out your stroke. And then what I would do is I would make this one the mask, and then I would duplicate it, and this one the fill, In fact, yeah, I would just, like, if you're gonna fill it, or here I would name this tube. You don't even have to name it mask because you don't have to mask this out. I would do tube. The fill one here is the one you'd want to be on top. And let's change the color of this one. We'll just do a light green since we're already on green. Kind of like that. And then we're going to add a trim path to this. Trim path right there. And let's say we only want like 50% of this showing at one time. So I would do 50. And let me zoom in here so you guys can see the difference. There we go. And then you can animate either the, let's say that I'm just changing the offset so that it is like that. What I would do is I would honestly just animate the end or the beginning, and then it's going to fill it up like that, right? So blood gets poured into here. It's going up the fluid gets poured in, and then it starts moving down the beaker like that, or through the tubing and stuff like that. And, you know, I know you wanted to do the wave warp thing on that. I would do that in the particular section where you have the liquid. I would slow this down a bit. This is all
Due
kind
to
of
the
really
complexity
fast.
of creating the color,
See, you have it right there.
purple
So I would bring it up all the way there and then make sure your timing is right
was
on
very
the...
expensive and only worn by ancient monarchies and the upper class during the 1850s.
That one's neat. I would adjust her face a little bit here so it's not so rigid right there. And then maybe you could just separate her head and her bun and just kind of have her rotating her head slightly. I think that would just make an interesting look for that. And
Purple
then
is the color of royalty.
that's neat. I would, this is fine. Maybe just center this a little bit more, or just like less of an angle, or yeah, that's what I do. And then just pull it up a little bit. I don't think this needs much adjusting. I
Purple
think
is
this
the
is
color
neat.
of royalty. Due to the complexity of creating the color, purple is very expensive and only
By the way, it is. Oh, and then also, is this a purple background so that it's monochromatic on
and
there?
only worn by ancient monarchies and the upper class during the 1850s. Purple symbolizes wisdom, power, spirituality, wealth, and nobility.
It's just so you know, it's spirituality. So you'll have to recut that one and say spirituality. This one, I wouldn't even have, you don't even have to have the brain kind of pulsing, because the brain, I mean, although it does feel like it's going to blow out of your head sometimes when you have a headache, I don't know if it actually pulses. Maybe in small parts. I mean, obviously it has blood vessels and stuff in it, so. But this isn't.
Power, spirituality, wealth, and nobility.
And then I would just put for wealth here, if you're going to do this, I would do this inside of Illustrator and then just join it so there's no, like, no outlines. I wouldn't put outlines on it. The fleur-de-lis is pretty cool. I like that.
Wealth and nobility. It is known as a cross between red and blue, combining red's power and blue's stability.
That's neat. Good job on that. Power and stability, great way to visualize those. And then what you could do is almost, I'm not going to say you have to do this, okay, because this would be additional. You could do this on your, like, any kind of free time unless you have the time to do it. But right here, you could separate out. I've done this before in past videos, especially explainer videos that I've made for clients. You could separate this part out here and then have these separate as well, the plates, essentially, the weights or the scales, and bring your anchor point up here, right? And then you could tip this side to side. You can rotate and parent these, obviously, to the arms, right? And then you could rotate it a little bit, and you could even drop in your name. Like your name could just, you could slow, like, give it time too, because I think these aren't on screen long enough. Let me.
Power and blue stability.
Blue stability. I would keep that on for another beat or two, just for a little bit longer, and then you can fade out. Or like I said, you could drop your, you could zoom in on this one and then have your name fall into these little plates, right? interesting idea there. You don't have to follow it if you don't want to. That's fine. This is fine right here. One of the other things, don't cross text. We don't want to cross text here. And then for the typeface, you make sure you're using an approved one from the GCC folder. Cool though. Really good start on this, you guys, especially for considering the timeline you guys had. All right, we have Nolan.
The color red can represent the feeling of anger.
Into it.
Anger can spread and consume us and make us do things we wouldn't normally do. Anger can come from the result of a rough heartbreak and fill us with enormous amounts of hate. But red can also represent the passion of love and the urge for adventure. So red can either bring the hate or the love out of us all.
Really good job, Nolan. I think this is your strongest work so far in this class, to be honest. Like, I think this is great. The only thing I like initially missed was a I don't see a 3D scene. So you gotta put a 3D scene in there. These water, like the morphing into each other and kind of creating like this hand-drawn effect. Really good job at doing that.
The color red.
Really, really nice, solid job at making it look very liquidy, very malleable.
Can represent the feeling of anger.
I think that's cool. Your transitions are very smooth and neat. And definitely not what I thought they were going to be. I'm into it. I'm totally into it. I would cut out all of the white that you have in the video and the black too. So a lighter red background or a darker red. It could be a darker red. I think that would maybe look a bit more closer to that black that you're wanting. So I do like a really deep red here. And then here maybe a lighter red in the inside. Although, if you have a red background, if you have a deep red background or on these, I would be fine if you kept them white on the inside there. But a lot of you guys have a lot of white and black backgrounds. Keep them monochromatic. So along with that's why we did the color theme, or the color palette theme. That's why I had you guys do that, but.
Of a rough heartbreak and fill us with enormous amounts of hate. But
I would shorten this, I would speed this section up a little bit right here, and then right here is where you say but, and then you introduce the next scene. So just tighten up the spacing of that.
Red can also represent the passion of love. And
you could do I'm not quite sure what the watermelons indicate for love. Here you could do 3D hearts falling onto the screen. Like, I think that would be a great way to add 3D, is you could do like a series of 3D hearts coming down. But yeah, cool. Good transitions you have going on here. I'm into it. Yeah, way to go. Way to go, Nolan. Awesome. Not too many changes that I say. I mean, just adding the 3D scene and then obviously updating the backgrounds and stuff and just making it a little bit more of a cohesive color palette throughout. You did a good job. All right, we have Janelle.
Blue is the color of serenity. Much like the ocean, blue is known to bring feelings of calmness, rest, and tranquility. The color blue tends to lower our heart rates and can enhance our memories and cognitive skills. Blue is often associated with bravery, dedication, and loyalty, which calls to mind police officers' uniforms and superheroes' suits. However, some shades of blue can convey fragility and depression and make us feel unsettled or afraid.
Awesome. Cool. I really like, you did keep the whole thing monochromatic throughout. And that's kind of what I'm talking about, you guys, like having the blue backgrounds and stuff and just varying your colors a little bit. Because obviously this is the sun. And it's not yellow, but we know this just based on of the context of the scene in general. So it doesn't even have to be yellow for us to figure out that it is the sun. This shot right here
is the color of serenity.
I think that's really, really fast. I would like to see a little bit of space happening. Blue is the color
of serenity.
And then you can, so you can kind of slow this down or even introduce this a little bit
Blue
before.
is the color of serenity.
Or even just have this on screen, like just fade into the screen and not, you don't have to have any camera movement there.
Of serenity. Much like the ocean,
Cute
blue is
sound
known
effects.
to bring feelings of calmness, rest, and tranquility.
I like
The
that.
color blue tends to lower
Heart.
our heart rates.
That's great.
And can enhance our memories.
Getting a lot of mileage out of the trim paths, which is perfectly fine. That's a lot of people do that, and you realize that you can get a lot of mileage out of the using the trim paths technique. And look how far it gets you. I mean, like, obviously you can do multiple scenes and it can look totally different, right? Because you had trim paths happening here, and then here, right?
And
filling it
cognitive
in.
skills.
Really cool.
Blue is often associated with bravery, dedication, and loyalty,
That's great.
which calls
Perfect.
to mind police officers' uniforms and superheroes' suits.
Great.
However, some shades of blue can convey fragility and depression and make us feel unsettled or afraid.
Perfect. I want to point out how you allow the animations to... Nothing stopped on screen. There's always something moving on screen. Whether it seems like a large movement or not, it still gives it visual interest. And you can get, again, you can get a lot of mileage out of just having something essentially looping out back and forth, or just hovering there, or just moving in some way. I mean, obviously right here, you just have them twisting. You have the cool trim paths thing happening in the background, which gives it like another element of interest, but also doesn't detract from what we're looking at here. And, you know, you have the faces,
and
the
make us
path
feel
animations
unsettled.
there. Just a lot of smart choices in it, right? Like I said, I would definitely update this section right here.
Is the color of serenity. Much like the ocean, blue is known to bring feelings of calmness, rest, and tranquility. The color blue tends to...
You don't really have to change anything
It can
here.
enhance our memories and cognitive skills. Blue is often associated with bravery, dedication, and loyalty, which calls to mind police officers' uniforms and superheroes' suits. However, some shades of blue can convey fragility.
Yeah, I would really just focus on, you had such a good cut right off the bat. I would focus on this scene right there, and then maybe, where's the 3D? I would maybe do a 3D heart here if you can. So that we have another 3D object other than just, you know, text in here. But I know that Brian's had the text was his 3D object too. So, I mean, I'm not going to be upset if you don't do that. But yeah, really good job overall. Maybe this blue. This blue slightly stands out a lot because of the shade of blue is a lot brighter. I would maybe make it, you could even kind of complement it with this color there. So I'd maybe just update the color on that hand. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Man, class, for the tight deadline, you guys did a lot. Impressed.
Yellow
Jessica.
is the color of warmth. It is reminiscent of sunflowers facing and following the shining sun. With its bright and cheerful hues, it is associated with friendship, optimism, and joy. When one is surrounded by yellow, more so than other colors, the mind can release more serotonin, a chemical that boosts happiness.
I didn't even know you would, you kind of got far, Jessica, because you just turned in your design. I was actually going to go over your design brief today, but you already have the rough cut of it done, so we don't even have... By the way, the design brief was really laid out well, and so I appreciate that. This is cool. I think that I don't see a 3D scene yet. We'll maybe go over something here where you could do something in 3D. And this is going to need a little bit of work. I like the concept of it.
Yellow is the color of warmth.
The colors, let me say this off the bat. Great job using monochromatic color palette. Everything in here is yellow. Every single thing. I don't even think you use white once in the beginning. And that is it. And that is, like, I mean, this is good. You did a really good job. I would even do here, you could do that technique behind the sun instead of having this white one. I went over a technique last week in class where you can add a shine to an object. Where did I do that one? Like this, which gives the, like if we didn't have, obviously didn't have the flicker, the ball happening in the beginning, right? But it can give that shining effect to that. So you could even put this behind your sun to give it that cool shining effect. Or you can make your sun in 3D. You can also do that, which would be cool as well. And you could rotate the ring around it that way and then still add that effect, like stack that effect to it. And I think that would be good. We obviously need some music here, but I know like you were on a real tight, you were trying to get other stuff done at the same time, so.
It is reminiscent of sunflowers facing and following the shining sun. With its bright and cheerful hues, it is associated with friendship, optimism, and joy.
Here, these guys are obviously way too simple. I mean, if you have time, I would like to see you fleshing these people out a little bit more. But the wave is cute, you know, how this little guy comes in and stuff. And I see what you were doing with the face motion to try and sell the idea of like at wrapping, like the head turns and stuff. But this scene here, obviously this one's going to need the most work, the ones with the people in it. And that's why I tell everyone to really try not to do people in this project because it's just a ton of work.
And joy.
Let me see what you say here. It's friendship.
It is associated with friendship, optimism, and joy.
Yeah, I mean, you can continue, you can keep this like this, but I would definitely, it needs work. It does need some work, so. But good job on your first cut with this. Let me see what you say here.
By yellow, more so than other colors, the mind can release more serotonin, a chemical that boosts happiness.
I would just have, you don't even have to have on that last one there. First of all, you don't want to end up on just you don't want to start, because that's the beginning here. You don't want it to be like one just big shape. You want nothing to be on screen and always in the beginning of your videos. Here, I would just do a brain, almost like Janelle did on hers. Where she had like a brain scene. This one right here. You could do brain as well.
With bravery,
and then
dedication, and loyalty.
Sorry, let me stop this.
Yellow is when one is surrounded by yellow, more so than other colors, the mind can release more serotonin, a chemical that boosts happiness.
Yeah, and then you could just do like little flashes here or something that are showing like those little star sparkle thing that I did. You could incorporate that to kind of show like the neurons firing in the brain, right? But it would have to be real small in a lot of them. But good first start on it. Some work to do, but doing good. All right, we have also Bear said in the chat, there's an effect on After Effects that will make a heartbeat beep. It makes like a beep sound. What's the name of it that you're talking about, Bear? Radio waves? No, that's visual. Although these are cool too. Water. Perfect, Bear. You could do like water ripples, but I know yours is 3D, so maybe not that, but distort audio waveform. Let's see what that one is. Obviously, we have to have audio in it to work. All right, let's just move forward to Angelina's in the chat.
Cerulean blue is the color of the sky.
Cool, into it.
The word cerulean comes from the Latin word ceruleum, which means sky or heavens. In 1789, cerulean blue was discovered by a Swiss chemist. Cerulean blue was also very useful for skyscape paintings during the Impressionist era and became very popular with Impressionist artists. Monet used cerulean blue in the 1877 La Gare Saint-Lazare painting.
Cool, way to go, Angelina. I like a lot of these scenes. You did a really good job. What is 3D? Because I think you do have something 3D in here. If it were me guessing, I would guess it was the cloud here. Is what I would guess is your 3D object. Am I correct or am I wrong? And then,
Cerulean blue is the color of the sky.
I would maybe make this fit into the cloud a little bit more. Or like I said, make this cloud go the opposite way. Like this way. So the cloud will start here and it'll go this way. And just animate and then have cerulean underneath the cloud so that the cloud reveals this as you're saying it, right? So the cloud will move the one direction, and as you're saying that, the words are popping up on screen, right? I think that would be particularly nice to see in this scene, especially. I think it would show like a higher thought level with it, and but like I like where you're going with it. I like the idea that you had in general with that. The only other one, let me see here.
The word cerulean comes from the Latin word ceruleum, which means sky or heavens.
Nice, this is cool.
In 1789, cerulean blue was discovered by a Swiss chemist.
That's cool. I would keep this on until you're done saying Swiss chemist, and then switch over to this scene here.
Cerulean blue was also very useful for skyscape paintings during the Impressionist era, and became very popular with Impressionist artists.
Nice.
Monet used cerulean blue in the 1877 La Gare Saint-Lazare.
So what I would do here is I would take this train, right? I would add some more detail in it to make it look a little bit more like Monet's painting. Let me see. I think they just did one. I would try and emulate this painting closer, right? So I'm assuming, I mean, I know there's not a lot of time. So I would just obviously try and emulate this a little bit more. And possibly, let me see here. This painterly texture is perfect. That's fine. But what I would do here is maybe you could even animate the train kind of moving forward a little bit. So you could bring the anchor point down to the bottom and change the position and scale at the same time. So it looks like it's coming kind of towards the screen. But other than that, really good job on this. Remember, keep in mind hierarchy with text here. I think that's probably what you were trying to do, but I would not, if you want to do this, I would make this all lowercase as well. So it's an animation by in lowercase and thinner type, Angelina Spadell. But really good job. Awesome job on this. You guys are thinking very creatively, and I'm
Orange
very
is the color
appreciative
of
of it.
warmth,
All right, we have
Orange
Juliana's.
is the color of warmth, creativity, and attention. Orange used to be called yellow red or saffron. The color is named after oranges once their trees were imported from Asia. Artists use the color to help show light or excitement in their work. Orange is attention grabbing, making it great for safety gear.
Really cool. Good job there. We need music,
Is the
obviously.
color of warmth, creativity.
I think this right here, I'm not really translating into, I think it's an I. But I think you should have, like, you could just have this started on screen, right? Like, they could come together and hug, and you don't have to have this I doing this. They could, like,
Creativity
and you don't even have to start them far apart. Like, they can be, one can be here, and the other bunny can be, like, here, like, just a little bit further away, and you just slide them together a little bit more, like they're already connected, but you just slide them together a little bit, and that'll give, a little bit more of an interest. And then what I would do here is separate out these ears and animate the ears, because bunnies love to move those big old cute ears, and we love to watch them move. So I would do that. And then I think
and attention.
everything in the video moves a little too fast, so I would slow everything down. You're only at 22 seconds here. Let's bring it to like 30 seconds. And then once you add that music in there, I think it'll be easier to get to that point. But right now it's just all really fast, and we don't get to appreciate the illustrations or the motion that you're doing in it. And we definitely need to, we want to do that, right? You put work into it. We want to see that work. So
Orange used to be called
this
yellow
is
red
really
or
cool.
saffron. The color is named after oranges.
Like that whole thing that happened right there, really fast. So what I would do here, comes into the shape of an orange. I would not...
Red or saffron. The color is named after...
You don't have to fade in. I would fade in this orange color first of the orange, right? This color right here. I would fade that in to this here. And then I would leave this outline shape amongst the... I think this is a really cool, just almost logo-esque type of strokes that are happening. I mean, there's obviously only 3 strokes that are happening there, but it looks really cool, especially over the fill there, and it would distinguish it from the bags, because right now the colors are too close together. You guys can't really see me. Hold on. I'm so sorry. I forgot to put my light on. But the bag and the orange are very close in color, and we need to separate that out so that we can see that. And so I really think leaving that, I really feel that leaving that stroke around it on would just be really nice. I think you'd benefit from it.
Once their trees were imported from Asia. Artists use the color to help show light or excitement in their work.
Cool.
Orange is attention grabbing, making it great for safety gear.
Yeah, I like that. It's interesting how they all like stack in the background and stuff. I didn't think about doing that, but I think it's cool. It works for me. I think it's neat looking, interesting. Cool. And then just definitely hierarchy with text, and yeah, but good start on this. Let me see here. Megan.
Green is the color of balance. It is the color of nature and rebirth, but it is also the color of poison and envy. In the Victorian era, green pigment was popular, but was also one of the most poisonous pigments, for it contained the toxic chemical arsenic. The idea of green relating to envy dates back to ancient Greeks, who believed that jealousy resulted from an overproduction of bile that turned people's skin slightly green. Green symbolizes rebirth because it's associated with the new growth and revitalization of plant life in spring.
Beautifully done there, Megan. That is cool. I really liked it. I really enjoyed seeing all of your different animations. You really illustrated quite a bit too for this which was really impressive. This, is this in 3D? I don't think that's in 3D. I do not think you have a 3D scene in here. I do not see one. So you have to throw in one 3D. I would suggest a good 3D scene. Maybe it is this one. No, this is 2D.
Pigment was popular, but was also one of the most...
That's really cool, by the way. Yeah, yours was the cloud, Angelina. Cool. Yeah, it took me a second, but I was like, wait, it's got to be that. Megan, I would suggest maybe, let's see here, what one would be good to make 3D. In general as well for this, I think that your timing is almost there, but I would also just extend it out a little bit and allow it to breathe. Have a little bit of breathing room in between each one and slow them down because it happens really quick and I don't get to enjoy all of the illustrations and stuff that you do. I have to keep going back, and you don't want, when you watch it through and you're like, oh, let me pause here to see what happens, that's a good indication that it's going too fast, right? That you need to adjust the timing on it. And that's a lot of what animation is once you get everything laid out, usually the next revision, you're adjusting timing a little bit more to, fine tune it. It takes a little bit of time to get used to knowing which timing just works with the video. But
it is the color of nature and rebirth, but it is also the color of poison and
great audio.
And envy.
Really fun stuff you're doing here.
Green pigment was popular, but was also one of the
slow it all down just a tiny bit.
Poisonous pigments, for it contained the toxic chemical arsenic.
This is cool. Yeah, because I really wanted a second to see this, like, I don't know if you guys ever watched the movie. It's an older movie. It was one that, Fern Gully. It was one I grew up with as a kid. And it's an older animated film. And there's like this creepy kind of oil slick monster guy. And it reminds me, this little cloud thing reminds me of this, which is cool. I would do you have to have a 3D scene in here, and you don't so far. So I would definitely have one of these be 3D. Possibly a good one to do in 3D would be like the leaf. I'll show you guys kind of how to do, we'll make like a leaf or a petal type of thing here in a second inside of Cinema 4D. But I'm going to get through the rest of the videos and then I'll go over that. But yeah, really good job overall.
But it is also the color of poison and envy. In the Victorian era, green pigment was popular, but was also one of the most poisonous pigments, for it contained the toxic chemical arsenic.
And just want to shout out too to let you know that the way you're reading the voiceover and with the music, it's just really it flows really nicely. So good job on that. And very long, complex sentences to have to say to get them really nice and smooth. You did a good job on that.
The idea of green relating to envy dates back to ancient...
This scene, nice. Good job on doing that. I'm okay that they kind of look like the... You know what they remind me of are the, the little art models that you use to pose, the posable models. That you put in a pose to illustrate. I think that looks like these guys. And it actually reminds me a lot of another cartoon with Hercules and how they have that entire animation happening around the jar. And it's just all 2D animation. Like, it just looks cool. But yeah, I enjoy this scene.
Greeks, who believed that jealousy resulted from an overproduction of bile that turned people's skin slightly green.
Sucks for everyone with OBS or IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. You're jealous.
Green symbolizes rebirth because it's associated with...
Yeah, just throw a 3D scene in there for us and I think we'll be all set. But really good job. This is cool at the end. And do it. And I would try, I think this is a green background. It looks pretty green to me on this. It's my second screen there. So I'm just going to say it is. It's not white. All right, we have Nick. Sarah said the green guy scared her a lot in Frangala. Oh yeah, the Prince of Egypt. Yeah, that one too. Good one. I haven't seen that one in a long time. But yeah, very, very similar. All right, let's watch Nick's.
Brown, a color that named in era. Brown, an ancient type of currency. Brown, that old clock that hangs in the lawns. Brown, a mysterious color that has multiple uses, and yet no more valuable.
The end there definitely made me laugh a little bit because it's true. I mean, multiple uses, but no value to brown. There's a lot of work that needs to be done here. This is obviously too small on here. We don't have, I don't see a 3D scene. I really don't see one. You could do your currency in 3D. The other thing that I would say, Nick, is your voiceover keeps getting cut off at the end. So
a color that named in era.
A color that named in, I can't make out the last word that you said.
Brown, an ancient type of currency.
Currency gets cut off there.
Brown, that old clock that hangs in the.
And you don't have to start, although it does give it kind of a mood, right? I'll be okay if you keep the script written the way it is, where you're like brown, an ancient type of currency. Like, there's just something about it that I really don't I don't mind it, right? It probably just because it's consistent throughout every scene. So I would just, if you need help cutting that audio, Nick, let us know, either Belle or I, and we could do that if you want. Or you could just recut it again and make sure that you're getting each section fully said. And then I would, like, obviously here.
A color that named in era.
Here I would have, you could do a coin in 3D. That's rotating here. I mean, we obviously need a lot more animation because right now everything's just fading out. There's, you could do a rotating of the hands here on the clock, and we need everything bigger, right? We need everything to be fully in frame because right now it is, it's way too small on screen.
Clock that hangs in the. Brown, mysterious color that has multiple uses.
For a mysterious color that has multiple uses, what I would do here, I would suggest just illustrating like 5, maybe 3 to 5 different objects that are brown. Like you could do a cowboy boot. You could do just like a regular pair of shoes. What else is brown? Let's think of it. A dog is brown. Like you could illustrate a dog and do that. You could do... there's a lot of different things. A tree, you could do just like a log, right? A piece of wood. It doesn't have to be like a whole entire tree. And then just kind of have those images scaling up on screen. So it's not just this. And the mysterious part, maybe what you could do is have them, instead of scaling on screen, you have, because I think something mysterious is like, for some reason, I just thought of like a magician's hat. And when the magician pulls the rabbit out of the bag, or out of the hat, you could almost have like these objects coming out of the hat, and on the hat could be just a question mark, right? Mystery, or it could just be a box. It doesn't even have to be a hat. You could just have a square on there and then these objects coming out, because you never know what kind. I think it would hold the mystery of like what is coming out of the box next, right? And I think that would be
no more valuable.
A good scene. And I would do the coin scene in 3D. And then on your final, this here, remember hierarchy and text, so make sure some of these are different weight. And then I would make this background brown. and not blue, right? To stay consistent with the rest of the video. All right, good job. And then finally, we'll wrap it up with Sarah. All right, you guys, this is the last ColorScope to go over, and then I'll show you one thing, and then we'll kind of cut it a little early. But here we go, Sarah. Let me mute my mic.
Red is the color of danger. Due to its long wavelength, red is highly visible and attention-grabbing. In nature, many poisonous creatures, such as the poison dart frog, are often red in color. Red is also used in various warning symbols, such as stoplights, stop signs, and even blood. Lastly, red can evoke strong emotions of anger or fear, reinforcing its connection to danger.
Strong way to finish this out, Sarah. Very impressive. Everything just had a purpose in this video. And it matched up really well to your voiceover. And adding the sound effects in it really does. I'm not saying the ones, because there's only a few of you guys who have like sound effects in it. Some more consistent throughout the video than others, which is okay, right? Like, I'm not going to make you guys put a ton of sound effects in there. You don't want to overdo it with that. But very smart choice on the sound effects that you did use for this video. And everything just kind of moved in and off a screen very naturally, which is nice. I didn't feel like anything lingered on screen too long or moved away too quickly. You know, when you have a more complex scene, you have to have it on screen a little bit longer so people can register what they're seeing. If they're not able to see what's happening on the screen, then obviously it's on there too short. Other than, like, aside from that, if it's a simple scene, it doesn't have to be on as long. Not saying that it shouldn't be on for a minute, for you know, a couple seconds for someone to be able to see it and register what kind of motion is happening, right? But it doesn't have to be on as long as scenes that are more complex. If I were to go through this, let me watch here.
Red is the color of danger.
Really cool job on that in 3D.
Due to its long wavelength,
this
red is
section,
highly visible and attention-grabbing.
Really nice.
In nature,
really, really, really good job at blending that line, having it. I almost thought for a second that you shortened the trim path on this, and that it went to the length of the eye. I would almost do that. That would really, like, if you animate the beginning and end to match the length of that eye.
And attention.
I think you do. I think it just because I can't go frame by frame on this, but I do think you do that because it looks
visible and attention-grabbing.
It looks flawless. To be honest, that is a very, very smooth scene. That is a really good transition there. The blink, the cool little like glass sounding blink was good.
In nature, many poisonous creatures, such as the poison dart frog, are often red in.
Really cool. Really good job on that frog. Because the frogs, I mean, it's not easy to animate a person, let alone a quadruped, right? Something with 4 legs. But you did a really solid job on that.
Red is also used in various warning symbols, such as stoplights, stops,
the various warning symbols, having all of those on the screen.
Signs, and even blood.
Love it. That's great.
Lastly, red can evoke strong emotions of
animating things off screen and not just necessarily fading them in and out. The opacity change thing I suggest, you know, spreading the love between the way you animate things on and off screen, just in general for like the entire class, right? If something's going to fade off screen in one scene, then maybe it moves into screen on the other scene. Or if it moves into screen, if it moves onto your screen, right, in the first scene, the second scene, maybe it scales up into view, right? So varying that kind of stuff is a good idea. Good job on the transitions through this. The leaves here are really neat.
In nature, many poisonous creatures, such as the poison dart frog, are often red in color.
I guess my only suggestion would be to really put, yeah, the frog. I'm not surprised it fought with you a little bit. You probably had to sit there and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go over this a million times. And like, where am I going wrong? I think that's a lot of the things that students, you start animating it and you're like, but where is it wrong? Where is it wrong? And what I suggest doing at that point is lengthening the time a lot so you can see it happening very slowly, so you could pinpoint that section where you're like, okay, this needs to be adjusted right here.
Also used in various warning symbols, such as stoplights, stop signs, and even blood.
I would change the color of the background here so it's not white. I would like to see it maybe even this, like, it's okay if these fade into that background color. I think it would make it look even cooler doing that. And I would do it this, most likely like this color red. Very light. And that way this will still stand out here for your stop sign. But this will, you know, this is surrounded by two different values of red, and so it won't make a difference whether the background is that same color or not. And then, you know, you can just adjust it to see what works best. I think that this color might be similar to this one, but that's okay. It's okay if the background and this part are the same, because you can distinguish the shot from this, the lightness that's happening there.
Lastly, red can evoke strong emotions of anger or fear, reinforcing its connection to danger.
Awesome. And then having that, very creative way to bring your name out, like masking it from behind your shape, which is cool. Great job on this. A lot of hard work on this. Minimal fixes. Some of you guys have a little bit more work to do than others, and that's okay. Like I said, I know this was a very short, you guys had to crunch on this project, but you know, this is the project that you guys want to, you know, maybe after class is over, revisit and really refine and make it look really nice. Because these are the ones that bring people in. These are ones that are going to attract people to watch your videos and stuff. So I think you guys all did a really solid job. And if you guys have questions on this project or need help with different techniques or something, don't be afraid to reach out to me or Belle, and we'll absolutely help you. I have, again, I changed the, let's go over the due date here. Let me go back here. I changed the date in time that you guys can turn in the final. So don't worry about this. Then the only thing that you guys are turning in next, this is the last thing, right? So what I want to see for Thursday's class. Okay, we're going to go over this very closely. I want to see your completed ColorScope. And the changes that I've given you today to make. If you don't get all of the changes done, I'm not going to harp on you for it, but I would like to see a majority of the changes made, right? So make those changes, re-render it out. 1 MP4, 1920 by 1080, 24 FPS, and link it to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cross that off. I want you a YouTube or Vimeo link to the project online, right? So just make sure that you don't have to post the video. You can also post the video if you want to. In fact, if you guys do that, that'll help me to use them later in classes to show as examples, which would be nice, right? But if not, just leaving the link is okay as well. And then I can always just use your links to get to it. And make sure that you have a description that discusses like how you made it, the tools that you did. Make sure you're reading this to make sure you turn that in properly, right? And then we're going to go over that updated ColorScope again on Thursday. We're going to go over that with your guys' reels. Then you have the final draft of your motion graphics reel, right? Final draft. This should have You guys will upload a YouTube or Vimeo link similar to what you're doing to the ColorScope, right? 1920 1080 for your project. 24 frames a second. Be sure to provide a description inside of the YouTube or Vimeo link that talks about your works a little bit. And this version of your reel, this is an important one. Star. This one. Yes. The version of the reel should reflect all of the suggested changes for all of the projects that we've worked on over the semester, right? This should be your polished, finished work. It should not be the first draft of something. Or, yeah, and if it's like, if you guys made the first draft and that's all you have and you don't have time to get all of the changes done yourself, you can put the first draft in there, but I will be deducting points for that, right? Like, I'm not going to give you full credit for not making or implementing those changes into those videos. I want to see that you guys can take feedback and put it in and implement that into your stuff, because that is exactly what you do in this job. Like, we're in this class, this whole program is career based, right? We want you to be able to graduate and either go to a 4-year school if you want to, or go on to start in the working field, right? And so you guys have to be able to take that feedback and implement it into your stuff. So I want to see that you guys have done that, right? All updated projects. No exception. If it's old work, whatever. But if you don't have, if you're missing pieces of remember, go over, some of you guys almost had all of them, right? But I need you to go over the list again that I had. In fact, let me do this. Projects in your reel. Let me copy this right here. So that you guys make sure you have all of these in your reel. Let me see here. Edit. Let me do this. Enter, 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 enter 10 million times. There we go. Okay. Cool. So make sure that all of these projects are inside of your reel. The bouncing balls, typography, reel and surreal, motion, principles of motion design, both the 2D and the 3D, the monarch scene, the custom 3 scene that you've done, the EveBot, the hockey logo, all of those. Now, a lot of what I saw on your previous reels, the first cut, right, was a lot of people were just throwing them onto the timeline and not going through and cutting scenes out of the video. They were just putting the entire video on the timeline, letting it play out, going to the next one. You'll get points deducted for that. Okay, that is not what the reel is. I gave feedback on that into your first cut of your reel, so make sure that you also are implementing the reel feedback into this as well. So make sure all of your projects are up to date and that the reel has the implemented feedback that I gave you guys. And it should be inside of your assignment as like a comment on there. If you guys have questions about that, you can ask me. I made sure to change the due date to give you guys a little bit more time. Before I had it due, I want it still due May 10th, right? I still want you guys to get it in by tomorrow night. I think that's an appropriate time to possibly like update a majority of what you can and try and get that in. But in case you cannot get it done by tomorrow night, the project will be open until May 11th at 5 p.m. That is Thursday at 5 p.m. After 5 p.m. on Thursday, you will have no chance to upload it. And also, I won't take it in an email. I won't accept it through Canvas, through a Drive thing. I won't accept it late at all. It has to be done here. This is your final. Okay, you guys? I can't stress that enough to you that there is no missing this deadline. If you want to grade on the final, you better get it in. And, you know, I feel like I've been very lenient and very lax on kind of due dates throughout the semester. I don't know if that was necessarily a great thing or not, but I am letting you know right now, it is on video. I have it on video. I have it recorded on YouTube, okay? That this is due by May 11th at 5 p.m. No exceptions. No late. No none of it. So get it in. If you don't have everything done by then, turning in something is better than turning in nothing, right? So keep that in mind. Let's say you didn't get your ColorScope project done. You know, it sucks. You're going to get points taken off, but you at least have your reel turned in, right? With updated stuff, right? So that's something to think about. If you have your ColorScope and your reel done, but there's a bunch of past work that you might not have had done, I would focus on making sure things are up to date. And then I would focus on trying to get that done if you can. Prioritize, okay, you guys? Priority in this is really important. And I can't stress that enough. So, and thank you so much, Bear. I try and give you guys, I understand that life happens, right? I'm not saying that life doesn't come up and throw you curveballs, right? And it does it all the time. And the older you get, you realize that it just doesn't stop. Things are going to happen and they're going to come up and that you just have to deal with it, right? And that is the truth of it. I mean, like, you know, I'm not going to, it's just that this is like think of this as like, this is the Super Bowl of your grade, right? So you got to get it in. You can't miss the Super Bowl of your grade. So I would just do that. But yeah, I think you guys will be okay. You guys have been turning your work in. I'm not saying you haven't, but you know, something's better than nothing. I will say that. But if these projects aren't all in that reel, you don't have to add your ColorScope to the reel. You can do that on your own time. I'm not worried about that. I'm not going to make you guys add that additional stuff into there. That's why I'm having you guys turn it in separately, but the same, right? Both will be linked in. Let me say this differently because it sounded like I was talking about LinkedIn, and that's not what it was. Both links will be directed into Canvas to each video for me, or you can upload each video separately as well. But I do have to see. I want to see it in a link. This is the important thing. It has to be a link. Okay. So let me type this out. So there is no miscommunication right here. What to turn in. Turning in. Okay. Let me do this. Link to updated. Well, let me do this. Vimeo or YouTube link to updated ColorScope. I should probably put like a 2. What else do you guys have? Can I go back this way? I can't arrow back. Okay, that's fine. Vimeo or YouTube link to updated reel. With all updated projects. Okay. Also well, I don't have to repeat that one. Brain. Due date is final. Okay. Due date is final. No exceptions. Right? But make sure, you know, like I said, if it's an MP4, I would rather have the link because you know what? You guys are going to use that link later. You're going to use it in other classes and when you go to apply for jobs, right? But yeah, important. Very, very important. I really want you guys to soak this in, right? Other than that, let's see, Sarah said, thank you so much for all the... Oh, yeah, of course. Like, I appreciate you guys. Like I said, things happen. I'm not gonna be like, sorry, you're SOL. Like, I'm not gonna do that to you, because I have been given grace in the past. And I know how it is. There's a difference when you're given grace and you burn a bridge, right? I think that goes for everyone. You can, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. That whole saying, it's very true, right? I'm not going to fault you guys for slipping up once or twice. Not a big deal. But, like, if you tell me you're going to hand me something in, it doesn't get handed in, I'm not going to expect it to go in, right? Yeah, Kaylee. So I'm reading. Sorry, I went silent for a second because I'm reading Kaylee's post. Kaylee, are you talking about the ColorScope? With the ColorScopes, I wanna address this again. Let me see here. ColorScope feedback. Get as much of it completed as possible. Some is better than none, right? As long as I see that you've implemented, like, at least a majority of the changes, at least, or the simpler ones, right? That's fine. I'm seeing that you're, like, taking that feedback and you're implementing it into your ColorScope project. But if you don't do anything, if you haven't made any changes to your ColorScope project, and then still turn it in on Thursday, I'm going to be like, okay, you're obviously not making the change to that. You're going to get points deducted, right? You'll get points for turning it in, but also points deducted for not updating it. Beyond that, if you guys still want feedback on it, right? Like, if you want to fine tune it some more and learn how to optimize it and make it even stronger of a video, absolutely. I am not going to tell you no. You can email it to me. You can throw it in Slack. I'm not going to remove you from the channel. You can direct message it to me in Slack and I can look at it there and I'll still give you feedback. Of course I will. Like, I want you guys to produce the best work you can. And I think that, that's great. Yeah, you can always ask me. Always ask me questions. I mean, that's why I'm here right now, you guys. And that's why I'm teaching and instructing these classes, is because I'm okay. I love being able to give you guys advice on how to make your work stronger. Like, I want all of you guys to succeed and move forward, getting jobs and being able to produce stronger work, right? That's a point of all. The feedback is to help you grow and to help you understand what makes a strong video. And so, of course, I will always look at that. Whether it's in another month, whether it's in another week, whether it's next semester, I don't care. You can send it to me and I'll absolutely give you feedback on it. As far as the reel goes, I think that the reel is worth more points, and the reel has been, in the wheels of the reel. The wheels of this project have been going for a while, and so I would really like to see the focus on getting that reel done, right? And making sure that's really tight. And that all the feedback is done on that, because that is the important one. That's the one you're going to get a job with, right? And so I want to make sure that you guys tighten up those reels and make them look presentable to hand off to a person that could potentially be your employer. So try and get as much done in the ColorScope as you can. Make sure that the reel is really nice and presentable. That's what I really want to see. Okay, I understand that the ColorScope one was a short project, and so I'm not gonna put as much emphasis on that one. I would like to see as much as you can get done, but if you don't get it all done, I'm not gonna be really upset with you guys, okay? But yeah, do you guys have any questions before I end class a little bit early? Any questions for me? Any questions about the projects? Any questions about past projects? Any techniques? I'll sit around here for a second and wait. Sorry, let me pick something up. I really enjoyed that you guys have, by the way, come into the chat and been such a delight and an entertainment for me. Sorry. I have an Aircast boot on and I'm just adjusting it. But you guys have all been really good students and willing to listen and to learn and engaging, especially for being online. Like, not everyone engages online, and so it can get a little lonely, but classes picked up a lot towards the end, and you guys make me it makes me happy to see you guys in the chat. It makes me laugh and stuff. So, but I'll keep waiting around here for a second. Does anyone have any plans for summer break? Yeah, of course, Bear. Thank you for some entertaining videos, all of you guys. It's great because, you know, we feed off each other's creativity, right? Like, that's the biggest part of any creative field is working with your peers or people, you know, who have been doing it for a longer time. You are awesome. You guys are awesome. It's too bad I don't teach a bunch of other classes. I do, however, oversee the internship class. So if you guys are graduating next semester or after next semester, I'll be in that, I'll be running that class as well in the fall, as well as 184. So if you guys fail, no, you guys are fine. Everyone in the chat is fine. I really don't think you guys are going to fail. All right, you guys, I'm going to call class tonight. I'm excited to see you guys on Thursday. Thursday's class is just going to be us going over all of your reels and all of your work and the updated work, and then just, you know, seeing all of your accomplishments. You guys should feel very proud of yourself because you got a lot done this semester. Let's see. Sarah said you're going to a trip to Washington to meet your biological grandpa for the first time. That's so awesome. Also to go to a convention. Bear and Kaylee also have more school. I am teaching class in the summer too, so I have school as well. So just know classes in the summer go twice as fast. Ooh, Kaylee, oof. A summer 3D modeling course, huh? Have fun with that. I will say this. You can do it. I'm confident you can do it. You have to stay on top of your projects though in that because classes go by twice as fast, right? So you have this, it's like this class in the summer. Some students are going to be taking this in the summertime and they're going to have 2 projects due a week instead of 1 project due a week because we're crunched on time. And so I have to double up on the projects on them. I don't know. You guys have taken the class, so how would you feel to have to do that? It's a lot of work. I'm not saying it can't be done. And if you can do it in twice the time, why not do that? I'm just saying prepare to work. Because you'll be getting stuff done. For sure. Yes, they do. They go by quick. All right, everyone. Good luck on everything. Good luck, awesome Sarah, going to meet your grandpa for the first time. I think that'll be awesome. Good luck to you with that, and traveling, and good luck to everyone in their classes. And of course, I'll say this again on Thursday, but yeah, I hope you guys have a good night. It does help with your productivity. I agree. Being pushed when it goes by fast, you're like, all right, I got to buckle down and get it done. Okay, so you guys know. Well, good luck in your summer classes, but join in class on Thursday and we can all chat and have a little bit more fun and we'll go over those reels and stuff. But I hope you guys have a good night, get some rest, get some work done, and I will see you guys all on Thursday, okay? Email me or message me if you have questions. But everybody have a good night. Close this out. Goodbye.